Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? My name is Kyle, you know me as Dragonmar, and welcome to a new video. Today guys, we are going to be going over 10 problems that I see in silver ranked matches and how to fix them. Hopefully teaching you guys a little bit about how you can climb out of silver up into gold and beyond. I haven't done a video on this rank quite yet, so I wanted to get one out there for you guys because I know a lot of you guys watching are in silver. Now, there's a big announcement. If you did not know, I have gone full-time with content creation. That means I'm a full-time streamer slash YouTuber now. With that being said, this Saturday, so the day this video goes live, Saturday, October 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern, which is noontime Eastern Standard Time, I will be live celebrating on Twitch at twitch.tv/DragonMar. This is our celebration stream. I'm going to be giving out subs, playing ranked matches. We're going to have some viewer games in there as well. So get in here, guys. Join the fun. Hang out with me for a little bit. And I'd love it if you guys could stop by. If not, I totally get it. And I hope to see you guys around. I'm going to be streaming a lot in the future. Try to go for about 6 hours a day minimum. So hope to see you guys there, 12 p.m. Eastern. And let's start the video. All right, so starting things off here with the first mistake and the first problem I see in the silver rank, and that is running while shooting. Now, this is a simple one, very self-explanatory. Why do we see this? Maybe a bunch of COD players, but honestly, I think part of the problem is that a lot of people know where an enemy is, so they get a little bit too excited, a little too trigger happy, and like, okay, I'm gonna start shooting. They're not around the corner yet. And this can be fixed with better movement. You need a little bit of trigger discipline here as well. And what we want to do to fix this is use counter strafing. Now, one thing I want to note is that silver is that rank where you see a lot of growth from players because you've got people coming from iron and bronze who might be brand new to these FPS games, and then they come into silver and they're actually starting to get a little bit better. So they still carry this bad habit of running while shooting. You'll see a lot of things like if there's a player around this corner and they're right there, instead of just going like this and counter strafing them, they'll go this, like that. And that can get you in trouble when you start getting into the higher ranks. So we want to cut that out as quickly as we can. Simple solution, obviously counter strafing. If you don't know what a counter strafe is, it's when you move to one side. So if I'm moving to the right with D, I press A to stop. If I'm moving to the left with A, I press D to stop. And that way, your first shot is accurate. First shot accurate. See that? There's that little bit of hesitation there as you stop. As soon as you stop, boom, shots. And that is exactly what you want to do. You want to get really good at this. That way, when there's a player around this corner, instead of doing this, you just go one tap, literally like that. See what I mean? That way you don't have to worry about it. And this is going to carry over so well into the later ranks as well. This is something that persists though. I probably talked about this in many of my other videos, even things about gold players, platinum players. You have to cut this out as quickly as you can. It's going to help you so much. All right, another huge problem that I see in silver is being overexposed to too many angles. So what does this mean? Well, being overexposed essentially means that you have now put yourself in a position where too many other positions can see you. So players in too many spots can see you. This is very, very dangerous because if you are taking a fight, you don't want other players to be able to see you aside from the player you're fighting. Honestly, you prefer if they can't see you, right? So you want to limit the amount of spaces, the amount of spots that you can be seen from. So I'll just give an example here on B. And really the fix here, by the way, is using cover. That's generally how you fix this, but you have to use it smart. So if I want to peek a player who's over here, sort of on this little catwalk or this sidewalk over here, if I want to peek this player, I don't want to come out into this doorway. There's no reason to. I want to stay behind this wall right here, and I want to peek like this. Now, the bad thing to do here would be to play from over here and peek like this. Why? Because now you've exposed yourself to steps over here. So now there's a whole other angle that can possibly attack you while you're going for the player over here. So that means if you're playing for this sidewalk push, you want to be in the middle of this back B site, and you want to play like this. You can't be over here and doing that. You see what I'm saying? You're overexposed. However, if you want to peek this side, you can be over here. This is perfectly fine. But remember, now you've given up control of the sidewalk over here. It's all about learning where you can be seen from. This just takes a little bit of practice. Just take note in your games. Hey, you know, if I'm positioned right here and I move out like this, I obviously don't want to do that because now sidewalk can see me. I hang back like this, it's perfect. Or if I want to play this, perfect. But I don't want to play like this because then the people here see me. You could carry this over into a lot of things. I know I'm using really, really basic examples, but that is the general principle, is that you probably are dying a lot more than you realize from overexposing yourself to multiple angles. You're going a little bit too wide on your peaks. Generally, telling people to play a bit more passive really helps with this, and to just think a little bit about how they peak. This peak, great. This peak, not good, right? All right, so problem number 3 is over aggression, and the problem here is the pushes in particular on defense. I have seen in a lot of my silver VODs the just sort of impatience of these players who sort of feel like they have to make a play, they have to force a play, and when you start forcing plays, that's when you start making mistakes, and that's when you start losing rounds. So I'll give an example of this. If I see a player playing in tree here, I like holding really passive angles. So I might be back here in this little archway, this doorway, holding it like this, or I could be up here holding it like that. Maybe even sometimes you'll be over here by this box holding it like this. However, what you see in silver is instead of holding back here, they'll hold like right here in a almost untradeable position where you are going to get flashed 100% playing here. And guess what? It's way too aggressive. Not only that, they'll actually push this. If there isn't immediately any presence felt, then they'll keep pushing. And that's the big problem with silvers, is that they don't really know when to stop their push. So my solution here, the fix for this problem, is to start playing more passive and to stop trying to force plays. It sounds so stupid, but it is this simple. If you just hold this angle and let your team do what they need to do, you can win so many more rounds, because what happens is when you start forcing this, you know, every few rounds you might get a kill, but some rounds you're going to die. You die right here, they know this is clear, they push up, they take a site, they win the round. That's why it's a problem, because you're not going to win all of these pushes. You don't have to force things. It's very important that you value your life in these rounds, as that often is more important than any kill you could get. So you guys have to stop with those aggressive pushes all the time and start playing a little more passive. It's going to really, really benefit you in the long run. All right, so problem number 4 is a teamwork problem, and that is wasting utility. So a lot of players in silver start getting a better hang, I guess, of their abilities and how to use the agents they're playing instead of just, you know, running around like it's DM. And part of the problem with this is what ends up happening is they'll just use their abilities too early. And you guys have probably heard me talk about this before because you see this a lot. So, for example, if I'm playing a smoke agent, someone like Omen or even Brimstone in this case, you want to make sure your team can use your smoke. So it's fine to smoke mid because that's like applying pressure and that stuff. But if you're executing a site and your team is still here and spawn running, there's no point using this smoke right now, right? Because what you just did is you alerted the entire enemy team that you have just smoked off tree, you are probably going to push from A main, and now they can send their rotations in from B, from mid, all the way over to A. And guess what? Where's your team? They're probably still here, just pushing in, and you're wasting valuable time on your smoke. Same thing with flashes. I've actually seen probably some of the weirdest flashes in my life around this rank, where you'll see a player just like throw a flash like that, but then no one pushes. And I'm just like, what is happening? Right? Like what is the purpose of that? Or maybe it'll be a Phoenix and they'll just be up here alone, they'll flash this and they'll run away. And then they'll start pushing in. And I'm just like losing my mind. Like, well, why not save that for your push? Like, what are you trying to gain? So the really important thing here is when you are getting better with your utility and starting to use it more, make sure your teammates are in a position to actually utilize it. All it takes is checking your mini map really quick, or just a quick comm to your team, say, hey, I'm going to smoke this, hey, I'm going to flash this. That's really all it takes. And you do start saving rounds, because remember, not everyone has a regenerative smoke like Omen, right? Once Brimstone uses his smokes, they're gone. Very, very important to make sure they count, especially your flashes. You got to make sure those count too. All right, mistake number 5, and this is such an easy fix. It's who gets the spike? Who's the spike carrier? The answer is almost always going to be your sentinels, your ciphers, your killjoys, and your sages. If you guys have those agents on your team, just give them the spike. I do not know why I see duelists taking the spike, charging in headfirst to sites, you know, Raze blast packing her way, and then she dies. And then the bomb's down. And you're like, okay, what do we do now? Now we have to figure out a way to retake this. Now the attackers are really on defense, right? It's such a simple solution. And if you guys don't understand the reasoning behind giving the spike to one of your sentinels, it's very simple. The idea here is that a sentinel is not built. They don't have the abilities that are used for those aggressive plays, those aggressive takes on site. So instead you give them the bomb, let them worry about getting onto the site after your duelists have already cleared it or started aggressing first. Your duelists are the ones who are going to be in those more precarious, those more difficult to reach positions further up. Maybe they're pushing spawns and things of that nature. You don't want them to have the bomb, and you don't want them to have to worry about planting. Remember, if they have to worry about planting the bomb, that's valuable time that they're not pushing up and getting into better positions. So you want to take all of that stress away from them if you're a sentinel and just hold the bomb yourself and go for the plants yourself. All right, so another huge mistake at this rank is spray control. And in particular, we see it a lot with Vandals. So the big problem here in Silver is that you just generally don't have the aim required for a lot of these long-range fights to go quickly. And what ends up happening is if a player, let's say, is here top mid, towards the attacker's side, what happens is a player will take the fight with them and they'll just start spraying. And they'll go fully into the spray. And watch how quickly this goes to shit. Ready? Look at that. See how quickly you just completely lose control of this spray? Well, that's a huge problem because you have to correct for that. And it's actually not the easiest thing to do, especially at these lower ranks. So what ends up happening is players are so eager to go for the kill. They think, okay, more bullets faster, easier, more and quicker the kill. But that's not the case because you need good aim to do that. Instead, what you want to do is you want to tap and you want to go for bursts. And you want to go for these quick little peaks, little taps here and there. Let that recoil reset. See how quickly I'm shooting still, but my bullets are almost perfectly accurate still? That's exactly what you want. You don't want to have to worry about controlling that spray, that super long spray. Another thing here that can help is switching to the Phantom, obviously. Phantom helps a lot. Very tight spread on that. You can get some really nice sprays. But a lot of the times you'll see these Vandal users playing in Silver, going for these cross-map sprays. I'm like, dude, the simple fix here, just burst. Just burst, forehead. And seriously, it really does help a lot, guys. I'm not joking when I say that. It's definitely a skill you want to learn. You're going for anywhere from about 2 to 4 bullets in your bursts. You don't really want to go any longer than that because that's when you start getting into the spray and where the recoil is really going to hurt you. So just keep it quick, keep it tight, and keep it easy. And do not stay in this spray for a super long time unless you are super confident in your aim. All right, so mistake number 7, the big problem in these ranks is people do not have the correct sensitivity for their mouse pad, and for who they are. So really important you guys understand what type of aimer you are. I am an arm and a wrist aimer. I use both, which means I can have a relatively low sensitivity because I have a large mouse pad to work with as well. So my guideline is I want to do a 180 with one swipe of my mouse. I'll show you about one swipe right here. Pretty good. A little more than a 180, about maybe a 200 or so. Not bad. 200 degrees in one swipe is exactly what I want. So you're probably thinking, okay, what's your sensitivity? Well, mine, I play 0.3 in game with 1000 DPI. That gives me a 300 EDPI, which is right in line with a lot of the pros. Now, this works for me. It might not work for you, but you're probably thinking, okay, how do I find my sensitivity? You know, maybe you overcorrect your shots, you over aim, you shoot too far. Like if you're shooting this lamp, a lot of people I see shoot a little bit too far, then they pull it back. They can't really get on the lamp every time, which is a huge problem because your accuracy matters so much, especially your first shot in a game like Valorant. So how can we fix that? One of the recommendations I see all the time, and I love this, is you go into a deathmatch, you jack your sensitivity up, something super high. So this is already double what my sensitivity is. And I go in there and I play around for a while. And I see, okay, how am I doing? How am I feeling with this sensitivity? Is it working for me? Then next game, we drop it super low, like unbelievably low compared to what we were playing on. And we see, okay, I can't even reach the lamp right now. This is kind of sad. So that's definitely not going to work. Then we go a little bit higher, but not quite as high as you were. And you're going to guess next game a little bit lower, or you can do this all in one game, completely up to you, until finally we find that middle ground where it just feels perfect and every shot is hitting and you're like, okay, I'm not overcorrecting, I'm not undercorrecting. Everything seems to be good, and that is how you find your sensitivity. You have to go for the highs, you have to go for the lows. That way you can actually figure out what works. All right, so mistake number 8, and a huge problem in the Silver rank, is the positioning relative to your team. And what I mean by this is that a lot of players seem to just be out of place and they don't understand what their role is. So let's give an example. I'm gonna smoke tree here and I'm gonna smoke heaven. And I'm going to run into sight. So let's pretend I'm a duelist or something. I'm pushing in a site. I'm starting to clear a site. What you see a lot is a player just sitting here in main, doing almost nothing. Maybe they're covering heaven, but that's about it. And what they don't realize is that once this duelist goes in, you, the player sitting back here, needs to be able to cover them and trade their death. So this smoke is going to fade eventually. Players can push through it. If you're back here in main, you can't actually see over here to help if there is a push, but it's safe and it's cleared. What you have to remember is your duelist is actively clearing places. Once they clear enough, that's when you push in. You don't have to follow them in immediately, but you should be close enough behind. So once they get to like these steps, that's when you swing and you start coming to help them because you need to be able to trade their kills. A lot of people will stay completely back here until the entire site is clear, and that is the wrong way to do this. Your duelist, your person going in first, your entry fragger, is the one tasked with clearing out this site. But once they clear out this first area, right, this area here, here, and here, that's when you move up to take that position so you can actually help them. A lot of people play too scared at this rank, and it's a big problem. It really, really hurts your teamwork because as your entry fragger is moving in, they have no support. They die, and then it feels like, oh, you know, no one's getting kills, no one's working together, but you might not realize it's actually your fault for not being close enough to your teammates. All right, so I've actually seen this in my VOD reviews a lot. So mistake and problem number 9 are callouts. There's not a lot of callouts being made at this rank, at least not enough. And a lot of people get worried and they just don't know what to say. So I think what I want to do here is I just want to kind of give some ideas of how to make a helpful callout. First and foremost, if you're ever getting rushed, great time to make a callout. And you want to call a few things. First, you want to say how many players there are, if possible. Or if you can't tell, just say, you know, sounds like a lot or something. Say the position. Say where you are. So like if I'm getting pushed cat here, I'm going to say like 3 cat or something, or pushing cat, pushing mid, pushing tree, something like that. I want to tell my team, okay, there's like, you know, I would say something like 3 pushing tree. And that's a great call out. That says, okay, how many players? Are they pushing? Yes. And where? Tree. My team knows. That's it. That's all it takes. It's so simple. You don't have to say a lot of words. You don't have to be worried. You gave everything you need to. Another great call out is calling low health enemies. You can say, okay, I hit this person about 4 times. You'd be like, okay, Sage is 1 shot, or, you know, Omen half health, things of that nature. Or you say, you know, if you're using a Phantom, you guys like to dink people a lot, okay, you can be like, Raze is dinked. That way people know how to take the fights. One thing you don't realize is these classics are lifesavers on rounds where you know an enemy is low. Just around the corner, right click, they're dead. It's that simple, but you can only do that with callouts, knowing the health of the enemies. So what I want to say here to my silver players watching is get comfortable making these callouts. Learn how to do this type of stuff because you need to do this in the higher ranks. You have to work together or it's just not going to work. Being able to call out pushes and call out enemy positions and rotations and strats with your team is a crucial part of developing as a player. So being able to call that 2 players are mid link when you know 2 players are top mid and there's only 4 left in a round, congratulations, you know where every single player is in the enemy team. You have a lot of valuable information. But if you never call that out, your team might not know. Remember, not everyone is looking at the map and not everyone has the same information as you, which is why callouts are so important, because callouts even the odds. Callouts even the information spread across the entire team so that everybody knows exactly what's going on and you're all on the same page. Now, finally, number 10, one of the biggest problems I've ever seen at this rank is by far the over-aggression / over-passiveness, the sort of non-nuanced, just no in-between, just straight up we're rushing or we are stationary objects approach to the game. What you either see are one of 2 things. You see a full-out rush, so players just running it down mid, going in, flashing, smoking, you know, teleporting past players, just going all out. Or you see the exact opposite. You see people hiding in corners. You see people, you know, just constantly playing behind smokes, playing scared, not playing for information. Also, you'll see them playing super far back. So just, you know, with no information, just playing super defensive, not playing in any position that can help the team really. And this is a big problem with this rank because people start to understand some of the nuances of the game, like, oh, this strategy works here or this strategy works here, but then they don't really know how to apply it to their own game. So they think, okay, I know rushing works. Let's rush every round. And then the enemy team figures you out, and it never works, but you keep doing it. It's a really, really big problem because, unfortunately, at the ranks that I'm talking about, there's just not a lot of variety in the strategies that are being used. But what's really important here is just think a little bit harder about the situations you're finding yourself in and asking, okay, is a push here good? Is being aggressive here good? Or should I slow down a little bit? If I'm playing on site right now and I play at the bomb and I'm defending, do I want to hold a passive angle or do I want to go for a peek every now and then? What I can tell you is that in a 2v1, you generally want to actually go for the peek because you want to even the odds. You want to get that first kill, put yourself in the 1v1, and then take that 1v1. Because if you're getting 2v1, it's so easy to get pinched from both sides. So it's thinking about situations like this where it's like, okay, what type of aggression should I use and how passive should I be? But a lot of what you see is in the start of these rounds, there is only two options for a lot of players. It's either all or nothing. So it's really, really important that you guys listening right now start to really think about how you're playing these rounds, because you might be one of those players who just has to do one or the other. There is no in between. There is no, okay, I'm going to start the round off passive, play it safe, then I'm going to smoke up and I'm going to push my smoke, right? A lot of people don't do that. It's just one or the other. They immediately throw the smoke down, they run into it, and immediately flash out. Start a round. That's it. There is no thinking. There is no, nuance to what they're doing. It's just, I'm going, all out, guns blazing. And that just is not going to work after a certain rank or even after a certain time in the match. People are going to figure you out. Very, very important to try to keep things fresh and to try to mix things up in your games. Like I've said a lot, it's really important that you stay unpredictable, because when you're too predictable, that's when you start running into problems, and that's when you start feeling stuck in your games. All right, guys, that is going to conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap the like, and of course, ding that bell so you guys are notified whenever I post new content. If you guys did enjoy this video, well, hey, come join the stream today, the celebration this Saturday. I'm going to be streaming pretty much every day regardless, so I hope to see you guys around. But big, big celebration. Can't wait to start doing this full time and seeing what I can come up with. Thank you guys for all the support, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy and peace.